Welcome to this episode of the Comedy Defect podcast. My name is Winter, I'm a comedian, and this is my show. Those that are new to the show, welcome. Those that are old to the show, thanks, come back, guys. I hope that this episode finds you warm and, but not too hot. You're walking out in the crisp, kind of cool autumn air. It's kind of nice. You can get up a bit of speed now without sweating. Now, you just had to have a stroll and you're sweating like mad in the summer. But now it's kind of like, it's nice and chilled. It's kind of, I'm really enjoying it. Walking the dogs, dogs are kind of liking it. They're shedding like mad. And they love it. They love it. Apples are falling from the trees. It's kind of nice that the change of season is happening. But I don't like midwinter, but I like this crisp kind of moment here when it's kind of dry and not kind of sodden. When you're like taking one step forward, like 3 steps back, and it's not nice to walk the dogs in that weather, not at all. But I hope you're well and you're kind of like, you're chilling, you're just kind of like getting ready for the winter time and, kind of like getting hot water bottles ready because, the energy bills are going to go up, man. I don't mean to depress anyone, but this is what I said. I'll put a cap on it. Thanks, guys. It's a bit late, isn't it? But anyway, that's by the by. This is episode 102 anyway of the Comedy Defect podcast. And this is with an excellent comedian called Jamie Oliphant. I met Jamie a few years ago and I saw him at Top Secret Comedy Club and he absolutely ripped the doors off the place. He's great. An unassuming kind of guy. We talk a little bit about the meritocracy of comedy in this episode. We talk about what you should do to kind of get better and move on in comedy and how to kind of just improve a little bit too. He's online on Twitter at Jamie the Oliphant. And he's on Instagram as JamieOliOli. So go and find him there. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm there at Winter Dominus. And if you like this podcast enough and you want to donate, you can. Go to Patreon, type in the Comedy Defect podcast and donate as much as you feel this podcast is worth. But if you don't want to donate, that's okay. Just tell your friends about your favourite episode. Tell people where we are and what we're up to. That's all I'm going to say now. You can find a Facebook page like that. Join the group. Why not? But that's it. This is episode 102 with the wonderful, lovely, unassuming fella, and just a guy with a heart of gold, Jamie Oliphant. Jamie Oliphant, welcome to the Comedy Defect, man. Thank you for sharing an hour or so of your time.
Yeah, cheers for having me, Winter. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. I'm all right. So, how are things going with you?
Pretty good. Ticking along.
You're a teacher by day, and that must be a nightmare at the moment, is it? Or are you enjoying it?
To be honest, I'm kind of enjoying it. I wouldn't say I'm a fully fledged teacher. I'm a LSA, which is a learning support assistant, and I really enjoy it. It's quite nice to have something just to just because that's so sort of morbid and depressing, but just as something to go to on a daily basis that kind of takes your mind off the whole thing. Because I think if I was kicking around in my house right now, I would be doing my head and my girlfriend's head in right now, and the cat. To be honest, he would just not be able to handle the extra attention.
Oh my god! Like it's like you can actually escape, and you're not taking advantage, and like the cat's kind of going, look, dude, I'm a house cat. I'm never allowed out, sort of thing, is it?
Exactly. You know what he did? He did when I got home. He did make a break for it. Yeah, he just sort of smelt freedom as I opened the door and he bolted out and I went, no. And he just ran back in and I did not know that I had that authority with the cat. But yeah, exactly.
Speak to animals, Dr. Dolittle.
I do.
And like, what kind of cat you got?
He's a sort of mix. He's half Mancoon, half Sphinx. So he's a weird little mix. But as a result, he thinks he's sort of from royalty. He does think he's descended from royalty. So he'll be like really cocky, really arrogant, but he is incredibly adorable at the same time. I think there's something about him where he's like extremely high status. Like he will sort of be like, I'm not here for you, I'm here for me. But then like a second later, he'll want a cuddle, which is quite adorable. Yeah.
It's like, I'm not sure if I can take this loneliness forever. It's like, I just wanted to see what it was like. And, now I want to be back in a relationship again, sort of thing like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's the second you take it away from him as an option, as an outlet, he sort of turns.
The grass is always greener, isn't it? Hey, that's it. I want to be alone. I just want to get on with I want to write my book and get on with the things I want to write about. And now, too much time on my hands and, I'm staring at the wall, kind of feeling alone and just pondering the mysteries of the universe. It's no fun anymore.
Exactly.
That's it,
exactly
man.
That.
What's the name of your cat?
He's called Odin.
Odin. Nice. Very Odin. Norse. Very Norse, very Norse name. The god, he was the like Zeus, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. I think he was sort of my girlfriend's cat, and then sort of they came as a package,
Yeah.
so when they moved in.
Yeah.
So it was yeah, it's been lovely having them.
Are you
And
allergic to cats?
I'm not, no, so I'm quite lucky there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite nice to be able to give them a few cuddles now and then.
That's
And
good, man. That's good. Was it when was with my missus and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a cat." And so I was like, "Look, I'm allergic to cats. Just one cat." So she got one cat, and then I was like, "Okay, I don't really like cats, but I'm also, as I say, allergic." And but I wasn't too bad. But I was working
oh yeah.
nights at the time, so I come home, and this cat is in my flat, like, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm looking for this cat. I can't find it." I'm like looking everywhere for this fucking cat, and the cat, I open the kitchen door, and there's this this cat on the worktop looking where I'm looking, because I'm like just so like blurry eyed and just like hung over from the night shift, that this cat
Yeah.
is just like, what are we looking for? And we became best friends because that cat liked to watch what I like to watch, and we got to just like hang out and just chill, until
Yeah.
my girlfriend came over, and then but this isn't the end of the story. She's like, I got one cat, you seem to be okay with that, I'll get one more. She got two more cats, so we had three cats. And then I was like, look, are you trying to kill me? Look, I am actually allergic. I mean, I managed to cope with one, but like, what are you trying to, like, the homeopathic remedy version of allergy curing,
Yeah. Oh man, three cats is a lot as
it's a
well.
lot. Yeah, it is a lot.
Yeah.
You can't, we had one white one, they're always deaf, apparently. White cats are deaf.
Right, yeah.
And then we had a black one, and we'd like a ginger tom, and it was just like, oh man, they were just finding little spots everywhere, weren't they? Little fuckers. Is your missus like Norwegian or anything like that, or like?
No, she's not. She just wanted to give him a name that she felt fit him. And when they first met, she was hoping. Originally, she was, I think pretty keen on the name Simba. I think for cats, as many are. And
Yeah.
then she met him, and she was like, "Oh no, he's not a Simba. He's a bit more regal
Yeah.
than a Simba. He's
Nice. He's got power. He's a powerful cat.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
He thinks he's powerful. He's just he thinks he's powerful, but he sort of doesn't realize that he's in reality just a silly little cat, and it's great. Yeah, he just doesn't know how little he is.
Yeah.
But he does when he sort of runs in. He gets really scared very easily,
Oh.
so he's like darting around all the time. But he's also like flexing at the same time. It's kind of hilarious.
Like a big heart sort of thing, you had no idea, you don't understand that, beneath
Yeah.
this small stature is a beast just waiting to be unleashed.
Exactly.
I can relate.
He's always asking you for a cuddle, so you're kind of quite ready to cuddle him, and then you sort of want to give him a cuddle, and he's like doing a very important job, like looking out the window, and you're like, oh, but I just want, a little cuddle. And he's like, but I'm doing my really important job right now. Leave me alone. Doing my job.
Yeah.
And he's just, he takes it incredibly seriously, looking out the window.
Yeah.
Genuinely think he is like the guard cat.
Right.
So I think he just kind of cracks on
Do
during his day.
Have you used it have you managed to crowbar any of this into your stand-up?
I haven't known,
You didn't have one cat joke. You don't have one cat joke.
Got really cat. No, I don't at the moment. I'm just sort of like, I don't know. I literally hadn't, because I sort of stopped doing stand up about May last year, and that was kind of when they moved in.
Yeah.
So I've just, I'm living with him and enjoying it. But like, I did have some ideas. You know what? I wrote loads in like April because I was really optimistic, and then I've just sort of not looked at material since about May last year.
It seems just too kind of depressing, really, in a way, doesn't it? Because you're kind of going, well, I'm writing this, but I don't know when I'm going to perform it. I mean, this piece of material might not fit my personality by the time I get to do this on stage. You know what I mean? It's like there's no deadline.
Exactly that. It's just no deadline, not knowing when you're going to do it, and that kind of feels like it sort of defeats the purpose of why you're writing it. And like initially I was like, oh, I write because I enjoy writing, and then without a few months without the audience element, I was just like, oh, this just feels pointless at the moment. So, and also because the world's changing so quickly right now, so it's hard to know what I think audiences would want to listen to. Like obviously some jokes, it's not just about doing topical jokes, but if you're doing like observational stuff about yourself, then you're changing massively, like every few months. And I've gone from, a guy who was doing gigs, working during the day, and then gigs at night, and seeing loads of people and having a great time. And then, again, to go abroad. Now I'm just like grateful to go to the pub, let alone gig, So I just think, like it'll be so odd kind of going back into it, just because your own kind of sense of identity, which I think stand-up is like attached to, will just be completely different.
I think that it's going to be a beautiful moment when everyone's like had to push all that stuff down for so long, and they're so frustrated, and just there's that ball of just frustration just coming up. It's going to be a beautiful moment when we're all released again. It's like the berserkers go back to the stage, it's like, oh, finally, and everyone's just has that joy, to be there again. It's gonna be a
exactly,
great moment.
It will be like really nice, I think, when things are a bit more chill. Talking to people at school about it, I'm just enjoying the little victories when they happen. Right. And when your older relatives start getting vaccinated, that's a really nice thing.
That's it.
Obviously, like, we don't, it's early days yet. It's just trying to keep those little wins in mind.
What's the thing you do?
Out the other stuff.
What have you taken up any weird hobbies while the lockdown has happened to keep your mind from eating itself?
I've started cooking a lot more. I feel like cooking is like my new gigging now. So it's just because it's also like it brings the same level of pressure and jeopardy in terms of feedback as well. Like, if I'm cooking for my girlfriend and trying to make something that she really likes, and then if she doesn't, if it goes so well, then you're like, yes, that was 3 hours well spent. I'm so glad that was what I've missed. And then if it's like,
then they heckle you. Then it's like, you don't know how hard this is. You try it then. Okay, right. It's your turn to cook tomorrow night. Okay, fine, you will try it. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's sort of like the kind of like, that was nice, is like a sort of, that's like a burn in a it's like, but that's just me being mean as well.
No, it's like that sarcastic laugh, isn't it?
Very supportive.
It's like the sarcastic laugh. That's the wrong response. I don't want that. I don't want sympathy. How can I make this better? I want you to just tear it to pieces or love it. That's it.
Or like if you say something tragic that you thought was funny and people just go, oh. And you're like, no, it was supposed to be a laugh there. It was not. I didn't want that.
I don't want you to feel sorry for me. That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
I want you to enjoy this to the maximum you can possibly. It's a fucking toasted cheese sandwich. How can you not like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, nice. So what's the zenith of the culinary achievements in the 3-tier lockdown thing we got?
I did dal with roti bread.
Okay, yeah.
And that was nice.
Fair
that was
play.
really good. I've to be honest, it's one of those ones where like the first time I do it, I spend like a couple of hours staring at a bunch of videos on how to do it, and then I'll do it for like an hour. And then the next time I do it, I'll like try to cram that all into 40 minutes.
Yeah, nice.
And then that's where it goes really wrong. So like the second cook of the dish is usually terrible, whereas the first is like amazing.
Yeah.
So
you're doing a time trial. You're like, fuck. I'm like, here we go. Right, we're gonna do it much faster this time. I don't have time to waste. Here we go. Click, 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 and then you just like burn everything.
Gotta get my PB. Gotta get the PB. Gotta smash it. And that's where it goes wrong. So
nice.
Learn a few things of what not to do, really, as well as what to do, and also just I have never had so much time before, so it's quite helpful in a way to just sit and think, like, this is gonna sound so lame, but I do
go for it, mate. Honestly, you've no idea what conversations I've had on this podcast, mate. Honestly, it's great. You let it out, mate.
Really. I just think, what are the things that I can improve at now? That I'll be grateful for afterwards. And I think cooking is like my main one. So I'm cool. Like, I think the next thing I want to tackle is soups next. Just because I can never, like, I know that sounds mental. It's just like, this is mid-breakdown chat. But I think
heard it here
soups
first.
For me,
you heard it here. That's it. He just started talking about soups, and then he just went on a killing spree. This is what happened. And he said that that Odin told him to do it.
Odin, the voice, his voice inside my head. He's always talking to me. He's been grooming me for years.
Right. Okay, right. Here we go.
Groom you. That's what they do. Yeah.
It's the opposite. That's not the way
Cats
the
definitely groom
relationship
me.
should go, mate. This is what it is. It's like the cat is controlling you now. That's great. Was it like, so the soup? Any particular soup? I'm a big fan of butternut squash soup. To be honest, a big fan of that.
So you know what, I loved all of those kind of soups, and
Mm,
I used to absolutely go nuts for them. But
yeah.
I became lactose intolerant sort
Oh,
of January last year, and I didn't realize how much like double cream and stuff is usually in
whoa.
those amazing like
Yeah.
supermarket ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so cream and milk are the two
Oh,
really bad ones for me.
mate,
I can usually handle a little bit of cheese, but yeah, cream and milk is
man,
deadly on me.
that's tough. That's tough, man. That happened last year as well.
Yeah, that was like January last year.
Oh
So
man, that's a
I
bad
know,
year. You can't stop.
could this year get any worse? Yeah, lactose
Totally.
intolerance and then a pandemic. No, honestly,
Totally.
it's not that bad. But
No, but like you
yeah,
can't order pizza in. It's like it's covered in cheese. You know, it's
yeah,
like,
I can. I can get the enzymes. So have you heard about those? Like,
okay.
they're the enzyme pills that you can get
All
in
right.
Holland and Barrett,
Fair
and
play. Nice.
they're quite expensive. They're like 20 quid,
Fuck.
but they're worth it. It's
Totally.
like, and it's for exactly that. It's like if you want to have a pizza, and if you want to have, you know what it is. I Cheese is the thing I miss the most. I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be milk because I used to drink so much of it
Yeah.
and have loads of cereal and stuff.
Mm.
But milk I can live without. But yeah, cheese is the hard one.
Oh mate, that's a huge, like, cut off the menu. Like this, it's nearly in everything, isn't it? It's just, oh, so you've just got like Domino's with your pills. It's like everything has to have an antidote now these days, isn't it? Huh? You're like, right, you've got to.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know some people who have it really bad
Mm,
and can't have butter and stuff, and
yeah,
that's horrible. So thankfully, I'm not quite as bad as that. I probably shouldn't have that stuff because I don't feel that well all the time.
yeah,
But that's something I'm willing to live with to
fair.
be able to eat nice food.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I do miss it massively
yeah.
though.
I've known you since I started back up a comedy, Jamie. You were running the gig in is it Tonics, Dr. Tonics in Welling Garden City with Jonathan Prince.
Oh, Jonathan Prince?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't running that
Well,
gig, but I
I,
did it. I did it
I
once.
thought you were
No,
part of
no,
that
no,
gig.
that wasn't me.
Oh, who was that then?
No, no, I think I did it. I did it twice. Was it Dave? Dave something? The really fun pub gig that he
Yeah.
did. Yeah,
Oh, I
I
thought
did
you
that
were
a
part of
couple of
that.
times. It was nice.
Yeah. So like, I didn't realize that you had been done the Soho Theatre as well.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was a
Nice,
nice sort of highlight of when was that? 2019. That's
nice, mate.
God, yeah, that was 2 years ago.
That's great. And so
Thanks, man.
did you just go up to Edinburgh and they just like saw your show and just went, hey, come down to Soho and do a run?
Yeah, they were up in Edinburgh. It was basically part of the Soho Rising Festival.
Mm.
And so that was for anyone who had ever done one of their workshops back in the day.
Oh,
And I'd done one like 5 years previously. And, wrote to the guys just saying that I know you got a million shows to see. I had a confirmation and that they were coming in. And
right.
just thankfully, the day that they were there, I sort of said hi to them afterwards. And it just felt like a really good show. It was a real my Edinburgh experience up that year like was a sort of real mixed bag in the way that
Mm.
I found out like as long as I had more than 25 people in the room, it felt like a proper gig
Nice.
and the jokes would land much better. Whereas like kind of if the numbers were between like 17 and sort of 22,
Mm.
the jokes just didn't land as
Oh,
well. So it was really important, I found after that, to just keep pushing it to get 25 and more. And yeah, the show felt like it sort of came good by then. I
yeah.
had some reviewers in way too early, like
Oh,
everyone does, and I
yeah.
had them in on like day three,
Mm.
and the show that they saw was just a bit of a hot mess. I think it got like some pretty tough reviews at the
Mm.
start, but I felt like it sort of found its own feet and a few weeks down the line, and I had some really nice reviews afterwards, and then on there's like a little sort of wave like maybe in the last week where just things seemed to go really well,
Nice.
and that was when Soho came along, so that was really nice.
Well, you got a cracking review here. It says, "Put everything down, take a deep breath, and go see Jamie Oliphant."
Oh yeah, that was a lovely
Deadline
review.
news.
That was amazing.
Yeah, man, it's great. Five
Yeah, that
stars.
was she was so nice because I had only had one review at
Mm.
that stage when she came in. I think that she came in on like the 12th or the 13th, and I felt like the show that sort of the early reviewer came for was like on day 2, and it was such a mess. And then
Mm.
by sort of day 10, I felt like it was something that I was proud of.
Yeah.
And then she saw it, and I just said to the audience, like, if plugging it at the end, just saying, yeah, please, if you enjoyed this, tell your friends about it. I'd love for people who would be interested in the subject matter of working in education to
Mm.
come down and see this. And I'm just keen. I've had hardly any reviews. It's not really been about that, but I've just been keen to get word of mouth going,
Yeah.
and to get people to come down
Yeah.
who might be interested. And she said, very kindly, I work for a magazine and I'd really like to review this if you're
Great.
happy to. I didn't come here planning to, but I have really enjoyed it. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, no
Excellent.
worries. And then 2 days later, she put the review up and sent it over to me, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Beautiful.
So no, she's really nice as well, and
Mm.
she's always been supportive, and having that review and having some of those quotes to walk around with afterwards was just really helpful in terms of selling the show back in London afterwards as well.
Brilliant. Brilliant. How long was you running the Soho Theatre?
It was 20. Oh, sorry, I was thinking Edinburgh. Edinburgh Soho was just one night, so it was just part of the Rising Star Festival,
Brilliant.
and there was like a bunch of people who'd previously done their workshops. Yeah, the people who they kind of just decided to form the showcase just got given a night, and it was great. So we got the top room,
Nice.
and yeah, I was very lucky. I think I just sort of begged so many workmates and colleagues
Great.
to go down to it
Yeah.
and to tell their friends, and I had people like
Mm.
telling their sisters WhatsApp groups
Brilliant.
and stuff. Someone told me, and
Yeah.
that was just getting people in, which was really lovely. But
Excellent.
sometimes it's one of those things where just you can like push really hard for something, and then all of a sudden things just come together
Yeah.
randomly on
That's
the
it.
night, and it was just one of those moments, which was lovely.
That's amazing, man. That's great. Just a bit of luck sometimes. You just need that one person comes to your show. You just don't know who's going to be in Edinburgh, and they got that amazing review. That's amazing, man. It's brilliant. And
Yeah, exactly, man. I really wasn't, looking for it at the time. Like I did have PR, but
oh yeah, did that help
they
anyway?
well, like they were helpful. Like
Mm.
they definitely sort of like brought in people who they thought were going to be the right kind of people to see me. But
Great.
that all happened like in the first 4 days, which was probably something I wasn't ready for.
Right.
So I think they would be great PR for people who are probably at the time a little bit more competent and a
Sure.
bit more experienced with the Edinburgh process than I was. I was very much like a newbie
Yeah.
who was just sort of fresh out of the system, or fresh out of like doing gigs in London, and
Yeah.
and then just going up to do my first Edinburgh run, having done sort of work in progresses before. But yeah, it
Yeah.
was still a huge learning curve,
Oh,
really.
big time, man. It's like, it's nothing like it when you do your own show. It's all on you, isn't it? It's just like, you're just, there's no one else you can rely on. It's just, yeah, you're there. Yeah, it's all on your shoulders. So
Yeah,
how many times have you been up there?
exactly, man. Yeah, so I was thinking about this the other day. So
Yeah.
I went once with Sio Dav when we did a gig. So
Yes.
I'd done about five gigs, and we
Right.
did this gig at 1 a.m. on the bus, on the top deck of the bus in the Three Sisters pub. Yeah, 1 a.m. for 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's a tough time. That's a tough time, isn't it? I did like that top of the bus though.
We
Yeah.
just had loads of people come down and do spots, and in the end we got really lucky, and we had people like Jamali Maddox like sort of
Right.
wanting to do it every night, and
Yeah.
he was like he would absolutely rip it to shreds, and then he would tell the audience like to boo him off afterwards as well.
Mm.
He was like, I don't want to be applauded by you dickheads, like you gotta
Yeah.
boo me off, that's how it's gotta be. And
Great.
so they would boo him off, and they would love him for it. They would love him so much. We had like Athena Kublenu do
Yeah.
it. We had Judy Love do it as well, who's
Yeah.
like now a presenter on Loose Women,
Wow.
and she's amazing. She would rip it as well. So it was just like a
Yeah.
really fun, eclectic group of people
Yeah.
who were just doing this random gig in Edinburgh at 1 o'clock in the morning. It was just a fun vibe, that one. So that was
Nice.
really good.
That's
And
great.
then yeah, I did it. I did a show with Archie the following year,
Yeah.
and then after that, I did a show with. I think I took a break, and then I did a show with Dan Audrett, and then I did my work in progress, and then I did my debut last year. So I
Nice.
think I've been up like maybe 4 or 5 times. I can't
That's
remember.
great, man. So did you start in 2013 as well? Like to go into Edinburgh?
Yeah, I did my first Edinburgh, I think 2000 and was it 14?
Yeah,
I think 14. I took a break 1 year, but yeah, then so yeah, I've been up 4 or 5 times.
great. That's great, man.
Yeah.
Like the first one is always the one like it's just overwhelming, you know. But then it's like
Yeah,
when you
first is massive, yeah.
yeah. I remember doing that Top of the Bus show a couple of times. It was so fun. It was crazy, absolutely
Oh
crazy.
yeah, man.
Yeah, that one and
It's
the
lovely.
espionage. You know, the little corner room in the basement which doesn't exist anymore.
Oh yeah.
That was
Yeah.
fun, man. That was a fun gig.
Those were, yeah, some really insane gigs that just sort of, just had no right to be gigs,
Yeah,
but the nature of Edinburgh at that time as well was just that there were people there, they wanted comedy,
yeah,
it would happen. So, it's a really weird thing. Like, that was the thing I found sometimes in Edinburgh is to never get jaded by Edinburgh. And that's quite hard because it is so long. And, you get a lot of Groundhog Day syndrome
Mm,
where you are just thinking this is the same thing every day. But those audience numbers, like the second you get back to London or any other city
yeah,
apart from Edinburgh for the festival, you are going to struggle to get those numbers in unless you're like a big TV name. So
yeah,
it is just an incredible opportunity where you can get an audience in
yeah.
seeing you work on your craft, and you can work on your craft properly hard as well if you really
That's
put your
it.
mind to it
That's it.
and
Right.
yeah, pace yourself a little bit.
It's the gym, isn't it? Edinburgh's the gym. You know, it's like you just
it,
like every
yeah,
day, non-stop, no rest really. Just like it's like a boot camp.
it really is, it really, really is a boot camp. And, you've seen like, I really like the Hannibal Buress Edinburgh special
Mm,
that he did. I think he's on Netflix or
yeah,
YouTube, but it's a really fun one. And I think that really captures the kind of essence of what it's about because that's a guy who's like massive in like America and then
yeah,
he comes over here and sort of no one gives a shit about him
yeah,
and he's doing a show in the Pleasance and he's just figuring it out as he goes and then he's like doing the weird random gigs outside of that and he's like
yeah,
gigging in a casino sort of in a side room at
mm,
like 11 o'clock at night
yeah.
and people are just so confused as to why he's there and he's just like, I know you're confused too, this is weird for me as well. And it's just, yeah, that one I really liked actually. That was a really, really good one.
The Elephant in the Room is your debut show, right?
Yeah, that's the debut show.
Nice.
Yeah.
What have you got in the pipeline, or like you have put the stuff in a Word document? Not that you've looked at it. Have you got the new name for the show yet? Or have you got the poster done? Or have you like just got it in a document that you're not even going to open yet until the time is we're gigging again?
I think I'm sort of not even got the title for it just yet.
Yeah.
I'm not sort of thinking about doing another Edinburgh at the moment. I think I might, work on the next hour, but
Mm,
I don't know. It's so hard to sort of make plans at the moment
yeah.
because you're just,
Yeah.
everything's changing so much. And
Totally.
even though like venues are sort of asking about performers wanting to come back and book the space for the summer
Mm,
right now, understandably, but I just think it's such a hard thing to try and decide when committing money to something that you don't know if it's going to happen.
yeah.
So
That's it.
it just doesn't feel like the safest bet out there.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, oh, I might just wait and see for another year.
All right.
As frustrating as it is to not do something that you love, I don't feel like sort of wish the time away that we've got at the moment. I'm enjoying each day that I've got. It's
Fair. I know what you're
I'm
saying.
really enjoying.
Grateful for
Yeah,
every day, sort of thing, right? You know, the
exactly,
worst things can
exactly.
happen. Yeah.
Like I sort of had to like. I know it's gonna sound really lame or like cheesy, but I sort of,
No, no pun intended there, right? You
yeah. No, I couldn't handle the cheese.
Does that annoy you now
Yeah.
as well? Does that annoy you? Like, so, we got asked. Oh, God
No,
damn it.
not at
No.
all. Not at all. Yeah. Yeah, I think in January I've sort
Yeah.
of found myself like, especially when it was getting so grey,
Yeah.
that I was like, oh, I just wish it was like March right now, and then
Yeah.
it'd be a bit brighter and stuff. But then I was like, oh man, I don't want to be sort of wishing time away because this is like healthy time in
Yeah.
my life. My family are okay.
Great.
These are the principles that
Yeah.
I need to live with in terms of like the most important things. That's all that matters. I don't need to worry about like whatever kind of lame sort of not
pipe
lame
dream
but
or
just
dream.
like
Not,
pipe dreams
sorry,
in
I'm
my
not being
head.
like I'm not, but like like your dream or your or goal. Put a goal in front of your relationships of your connection with life and the world. Rather than this thing that's ephemeral. Because yourself, comedy is just it's done. You do the job. You go home. It's over, isn't it? But your life
Yeah,
goes on,
exactly.
isn't it? Your life goes on.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, big time, man. And I think it's sort of maybe kind of made me realize that actually there were some things in my life that I wasn't doing properly
yeah,
before the pandemic, and I was
yeah,
just kind of, I don't know, maybe just doing things in a bit of a weird way.
yeah.
And it's sort of because you get the time to reflect. I don't know if you felt that like you're sort of looking at things in a different way now. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. No, I do. That you just you're thinking a little bit more deeply. Slow down a little bit. Don't stress yourself about this stupid thing, that gig that you want to get on, or something to do with this thing that you're just pushing, you're pushing, and you push until there's nothing left. And I've been thinking this. In fairness, I'm thinking this. The thing like that says burning ambition. I think it's called burning ambition because it just torches everything around you. You know what I mean? Like, your relationships with your family, your other half, everyone, and so you've got to really keep it, basically cool your jets a little bit, Are you enjoying it still? Like, is this infested your life and just taken over everything? Or is it like just a thing that you love to do? You get a bit jaded, you know what I mean? You try not to, but you
Yeah.
don't even notice it sneak into your psyche. It's insidious comedy, It's like, okay, I need to always be working. You feel it's like that kind of that work ethic. I must be working really hard all the time, But then people say they write 300 jokes a day. No, they fucking don't. It's just
That wouldn't be good jokes. You can't write
totally.
300 good jokes a day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
No.
like, but that's a wonderful myth to portray, so everyone else goes, I should be doing more. It's like it's a silly thing.
I think so. I think that's a really common feeling to
Yeah,
feel is the I should be doing more, or
yeah,
why is so and so doing this and I'm not, I'm doing this, because I think this is like something where there's lots of comparison
yeah. Of
anxiety
course.
about, and also I think as well like a lot of people believe in the meritocracy and think, oh, if I work hard then I'll get the opportunities, and it's not a
It's not.
meritocracy.
It's not.
It's more like a stock market, and it's more about like you know certain things doing really well at certain points of time,
Yeah,
and that's just the way it goes for everything, and especially with art. Like that's the way that thing works. It is more like a stock market than
yeah,
it is like a meritocracy. So I think you see a lot of people feeling like, I deserve something, I've worked hard for something, I deserve it. And it's like, no, that's never been the way it works. It's
yeah,
not meritocracy.
yeah,
And I see
yeah,
people saying that on like, and having Facebook, I see people having Facebook arguments about
yeah,
that,
yeah.
going, if you get the gigs you deserve and you put in the time on the circuit, and it's like, no, that's bollocks. It's not
Absolutely,
about that. It's just,
absolutely.
you do have to work extremely hard on your craft, but
Yeah,
it's about being in the right place at the right time as well. You can't substitute that. And then when you get an opportunity, you have to take it.
yeah,
You can't just like burn opportunities as well.
yeah.
Like, and you can't piss off the wrong people as well. That's definitely
Absolutely.
another thing.
It's all those things, I love the comparison to the stock market, man. It's like absolutely like that, It's just you've got to pick the right gigs to go to when you're ready, rather than go, yeah, I need to do everything. That's it. Pick it when you're ready.
Exactly. When you're ready, you just be working on the craft and be patient with it, and be patient with
Yeah.
yourself as well, really importantly, because
Mm.
these things take time. And, don't get like too sidetracked or like focused on like one way of thinking of like, or thinking that there's a specific path to getting what it is that you want.
Yeah.
There are loads of different routes that people take, and there are loads of different ways to kind of promote what it is that you do now, and everyone is doing something different.
Yeah.
Like you look at someone like Nigel Ung. Like Nigel's a phenomenal comic
Mm.
and always has been. Every time I've seen him, has absolutely killed it as a stand-up. And then like this sort of in the last like 12 months, he's just he's always put content up online, but in the
Yeah.
last 12 months, he's absolutely blown up.
Yeah.
And it's really great to see. That's just from hitting the mark, being in the right place at the right time, and it's going great, and I'm really happy for him because he's a guy who works massively hard. But a lot of people say it's meritocracy, and sort of it is. He deserves it, and I think he
Yeah.
massively deserves it.
Yeah.
But like it's a stock market as well, in my opinion. It's just
Yeah,
like, yeah,
that's it. You know, you pick enough tickets, one of them's going to take off eventually, but you just got to keep managing to, you know, buy those tickets and keep in the game.
yeah,
You know, that's what it
exactly.
is.
I think you got to believe in what it is that you're doing as well, and you got
Mm,
to really like what it is that you're doing, and ultimately, and I think you got to really enjoy the material that you do
yeah,
and the effect that it has on people. If you don't like that, and if you don't like the jokes, then that's when I think you can get into a really jaded headspace really
yeah,
quickly. And if you're not like turning over new stuff quickly enough or taking enough risks, because I've definitely had like, a few months where I'm like, okay, these gigs have been nice and easy. I haven't written anything new for a few weeks, or
mm,
haven't. I think it's quite healthy to like bomb like a couple of. If you're doing 9 gigs a week, I think it's quite healthy to bomb at least 2 of them. And if you're doing, especially if you're doing new material with those, like just because that is part of the development process. And it means as well that you're taking a few risks, but you are trying to find the right thing. You're
yeah.
experimenting and you're, trying a
You're
few
pushing
things,
it.
which is
You're just
important.
pushing it through, man. You're just like just trying to need, you know, work something out, man. That's what it is. You know, where am I? Where am I in this joke? Who am I now? You know, that's what it is. Why did I
Exactly.
think this?
Yeah. But that's another sort of part of like the new sort of change in lifestyle pace as
Mm,
well. Like I can't believe that I used to go out and try and gig like 9 times a week
yeah,
and bomb twice a week. Like I don't think I sort of worry going back into it, if I did go back into it
yeah.
in like a year's time or whatever, and try to hit the same kind of numbers, because I think I'd find that so draining. I don't know about you in
I know what
terms
you're
of
saying.
like
I know what you're saying.
just the idea of going out that much. I'm like, no,
Like
what you mean I'm
the
gonna
driving
I,
everywhere, and like, you know, they're just the kind of the non-stop, "Oh, I've got to be here, I've got to be there." The danger is like, I found the same as you, and when it slowed down, I was like, whoa, what was I doing? I've missed like nearly 10 years of my life now, do you know, just doing comedy. You know, I
yeah,
loved
yeah.
it. Don't get me wrong, I loved the last few years. I wouldn't have given away for anything else. But it's like, Jesus Christ, I was completely like single-minded, you know, for whatever end it is, you know. It's just, but I was like, right, I'm doing this. I love it. And then not,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
it. Yeah.
but it's like,
I've
yeah,
definitely I felt that as well, man. Like I've sort of looked back and I was like, oh wow, I left some really well paid jobs to try and do this more
yeah,
and try and get better at this, because I saw like, I felt like I was doing well at the start, and then I could see like my peers putting in more time than I was. So I sort of
yeah,
left the job that I was doing to be able to put more time into it. And then, you know, but then I'm sort of also really just grateful to be able to have a job at this moment in time, because it is really, really difficult. It's a challenging time for everybody.
what were you doing before you, like, when you first started?
I was just working in sales support for a credit card machine company. So I was kind of doing basically, it's going to sound quite random. So,
Great. Well, it sounds like it wasn't something like, it wasn't like, oh, I left this thing that I loved, you know,
oh
to
yeah, no,
pursue this other thing that I
it was no
also loved.
vocation thing. I was doing like some anti-money laundering checks on contracts that were being
Right.
sent to banking partners.
Okay.
So I was kind of like having to look into businesses
Mm.
and see if their business practice would be appropriate for the banking partner. It's all very boring stuff,
Yeah.
but it was quite well paid at the time, and I was enjoying that, and the
Mm.
guys I was working with were awesome. But yeah, like I was also feeling at the time that like some of my mates were just getting, who I'd started with, I
Yeah.
could now see them racing on, getting
Yeah. Yeah.
so good at comedy, and I
That's
was
it.
like, I'm jealous of that,
Of
and the time
course.
that you've spent putting into this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to bail on this job, because I was really addicted to the work, and I
Yeah.
was looking at my emails on the weekends, like,
Yeah.
and that's when I was just like, okay, this is too much.
Yeah. That's right, man. That's it. Is it? When did you start, Jamie?
Like stand up.
Yeah.
So I did my very first gig in, I think, was it 2013? I didn't really sort of do it that much for the first couple of years. I think
Mm.
it was about like 2015 that I started doing it properly. That was when I was like 3 gigs a week,
Yeah.
whereas before I was kind of like 1 gig every 2 months.
Mm.
But yeah, so it was like 3 gigs a week from about 2014 or 15.
Do
Yeah.
you remember where it was?
Yeah, Lion's Den.
Oh
That was
yeah,
my very
yeah.
first one with the late and
Tim.
lovely
Yeah.
Tim Randall, who
Great.
put me on at the end of the night, and it was one of those ones, when it's like the first time you're doing it, you bring a couple of friends down and they're like so excited and
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, I can't wait. And anyway, like they had to sit through 25 like comedians
Yeah.
in the Lions Den. And for anyone who's listening who doesn't know what the Lions Den is, just it's an open mic comedy night in Leicester Square in Bar Rumba, and you know, you get some really lovely characters down there as well, really sweet people. I've met some fantastic comics down there. And yeah, I think that was like when Jamali Maddox was still doing that gig at that stage and just ripping it apart. It was a lot of fun. It was great. But yeah, I remember them like sitting through like 25. So and it was literally like I think sort of 12:30 when I went on at night. So it was just
they've been beaten up. They've been beaten up by the time you get on, right? It's
they were exhausted. They were exhausted.
That's it, man. They've been like in the gym, like everyone's like, oh God, just want to go home. Oh great, now my friend's on. Oh, here we go. All right, just please hurry up. And like it went well though. It went well though, right?
It went okay.
Yeah.
It went well enough for me to be okay about doing it again.
That's cool.
Yeah, I had a couple of people say nice things, be like, "Oh wow, is that your first one?" And so that was nice, and that made me think, "Yeah, I've got it." Like I don't know if you had, I was just very conceited and arrogant, like yes, and totally smug about it, like the first few times. But then that comes crashing down. I think when you sort of realize actually there's loads of things that once you just get a good sense of what you're doing wrong, and then you start putting the work in, and that's when things get better, I think.
Yeah, they start putting the work in and they get worse, and then because you care about it so much, and then they get better and you start not caring about it as much at all. You're just like, okay, right, just wear it with irreverence, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, man. I think it is one of those things that you just have to you have to allow it to give it room to get better, because you can't think about it every single minute of the day, and you can't be writing jokes like that. You have to be just doing your normal life stuff and then gigging and then trying to combine a bit of all of it.
Hey, mate, you got some Jamie Oliver stuff to watch, isn't it? Like, you got to fucking, you done Jamie Oliver yet?
Yeah, I have actually. He's got a really good sweet potato curry recipe. His 15 minutes meal, if you want a little cheat.
I fucking tried his 30-minute meal. It took me fucking 3 hours, mate. I swear to God, that's no way.
It is a lie. It is what he says about exactly. It's a complete lie about the 30-minute meal.
Yeah, the show might be edited into 30 minutes, but actually it's 3 hours. It's fucking 3 hours. So you did that was first gig. Do you remember the date? 2013.
No, I don't, unfortunately.
Lions Den.
Yeah.
And then we've done the first gig. What was your worst gig you've ever done? The one that just goes,
a gig in Southend.
Yeah.
It was just in a room, like quite a rowdy place. It was one of these ones where I don't know if you've done a few of these, where it's like they advertise it as a pro comedy night, and maybe they hire like one pro who had like TV credits 20 years ago and hasn't gigged since, and then that person gets paid like 80 quid, and then everyone else is like free of charge and has spent like spent like £15 like getting down there. So you go in, you do that gig, you're 15 quid down already, and everyone has paid like maybe a reasonable amount of money, like £12.50, to see what they expect is going to be relatively good. And we were all beginners, and it was really bad.
How many years in were you at the time?
I think I was about 9 months in.
Oh fuck. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then so they'd been paid, they'd been ripped off. That's the thing is, I sort of just now I just like, they got to a stage where I was just like, right, I'm not going to do any gig where I rip off the audience ever again.
Fair.
Like I think that was the lesson from that gig. But I got put in a headlock in that gig.
What?
Actually. Yeah, by an audience member. I was just like messing around with him, having like a bit of back and forth banter.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll fucking show you. And then he sort of jumped up on stage, and I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it was like, because he was talking about flexing his muscles.
Right.
And I was like, all right then. And then I thought he was just going to like flex on stage and that would be it. And he just puts me in a headlock like straight away. And then I was like, what the fuck?
Whoa.
And then he jumped off. it was just so weird. And trying to like, and there was security and bouncers and stuff in the room, but they did nothing. And then trying to like reference that afterwards and joke about it, like it didn't hurt that badly, but it just, kind of undermined me on stage a little bit.
Slightly.
But yeah, slightly. I was just so inexperienced for that situation, and I spoke to her about it afterwards, and that was when I was doing the Soho course at the time. I was really lucky actually. I was on that Soho course because it was being taught by Brister, who's incredible. She's amazing, and she's so nice as well. And I was just like, in my head, I was just like, oh, I guess this is what the club comedy world is like. Sometimes you get put in a headlock and you just got to deal with it. And I told Jen, and I was like, Jen, this happened at a gig. And then she was so nice. And she was just like, Jamie, that should never have happened. That was a massive letdown on the part of the promoter and the security staff in the venue that they didn't deal with it there and then. And I think had I not had her say that at that time, I probably would have bailed just on the whole thing. But because I had someone say, you should never have been treated like that, that kind of was sort of reassuring enough to kind of be able to just put it to the side and just move on, really.
Well, that's good, isn't it? Because you don't know what's going to happen to you at the next gig, do you? I mean, headlocks, like, it's basically the gateway to the next, assault that you potentially could have at another gig. Yeah,
exactly.
Wow.
I'm sort of, I'm not the kind of rowdiest of guys as well, but I wouldn't have been able to keep up with it if there was going to be more afterwards, to be honest.
Like, you or I are no Joe Rogan, do you know what I mean? We're not going to go up there like and just kind of roundhouse them off the stage, It's
exactly.
It's you want to feel safe. Want to be a safe space to tell your jokes.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't even remember what I was doing at the time.
Mate.
I was it probably was awful material. If I watched it now, I'd be like, yeah, that deserved a headline. That was awful. But it's I don't know. It wasn't like great stuff. But
that's still not the point. Like a headlock is like it's like there's no need to I'll tell you what, guys. This guy is dying his arse. I'm gonna get him a headlock.
I'm gonna help him out here, just to get some sympathy. And no, but it didn't even work. I didn't even get the sympathy vote after that. Man. It made me just kind of assess those sorts of gigs a little bit more, and just like in terms of like going to sort of, I was going to work the next day, but it was just I was just like, that's not
cool.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you this then. Do you remember your first joke you wrote?
Yeah.
Go on. I can't wait.
It's so bad.
Brilliant. Love it. Still using it now. Still opening with it
now. No, thankfully not. It was just, what was it? Wait. I think maybe there was the one where I talked about my haircut, and there was basically like a website at the time called Lesbians That Look Like Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
And it was quite big at the time, and it was just photographs of gay women. They would submit a picture of themselves as a person who looked like Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
And I had hair kind of like that at the time. And I said that I just got a haircut and I'm not very happy about it, but I have just been accepted by lesbians that look like Justin Bieber. So ups and downs. And it was just awful. It was just, really kind of just, I'm going to sound so lame, being like, it was of its time, and it wasn't even of its time. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't even of its time.
No, but like,
I'm just
it's the beginning, isn't it? It's the beginning, mate. It's of course it's gonna. You got to say what feels funny to you. You're like, oh, this is funny. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, some of the people that I'm friends with now, like who I've met in comedy, I'm really glad that they didn't see me at my first gigs, because just the quality of the stuff there was just appalling. Like, some people are average at the start, some people are brilliant, and then some people are just terrible, and I was definitely in that really terrible bracket.
Me too, man. I was absolutely awful. God, like long stories with no real punchline, just a lot of personality and just too much energy. That's what it is. It's like, you need to work, you need to just like go through that, and you all like shed skins along the way, and it's up and down, mate. It's up and down that you get to.
I think as well, I found for me the big thing was just listening to American comedy albums nonstop.
Yeah.
I found I had those on constantly,
Right.
just because I wanted to like understand joke structure and understand pacing a little bit, and that was that was great.
That's very important. I think that's the most important thing. You just become like a beautiful mind when you just like, I need to absorb everything. I need this all into my head so I can feel the joke structure. Like, I mean, I think one of my favorites of like that kind of, if you like, syllabus is The Bugle with John Oliver and Andy Zaltzman. Amazing joke writing. It's political.
Oh yeah.
Not anything I do, but the joke structure in that is just, it's sublime. There's some amazing jokes in that. The old Bugle, not the one with just Andy and other guests now, but the old version is brilliant. But yeah, I just listened to that for a joke. Oh, it's amazing. But you know, there's so much stuff you could just absorb and just go, okay, right, brilliant. That's the mechanics. There's a mechanics to it, which is wonderful. It's just so subtle sometimes. But okay, right, I asked this question to everyone I have on the show. When you go on stage, Jamie, would you see yourself as any particular model of, say, a job of some kind? Do you have like a kind of like, I'm like in my comedy, I'm this sort of thing, like it could like a role, you know, not like a clown, because that's just like, you know, of course, but like, you know, if you see yourself as like some sort of model trade or profession when you're going up there, do you have anything like that?
I don't know. I definitely do feel that comedy is a trade as well as an art and art form, and I do think it is something like, you know, craft as well that you just have to really really work on.
Yeah. But yourself, like as a person, as a like, I mean, like, so for example, Sean Mio sees himself as a gun for hire who goes around the country and just like, you know, like a Ronin, if you like. Do you like? Would you like? What do you see yourself as when you go up there, do your jokes? Do you have an image of yourself?
I'm not a gun for hire. I'm more like community support officer. That's if I had to have a role, because I'm I don't know. I just think I mean, sort of like when I go on stage, it's just. This is going to sound really sad, but I can't really remember sort of exactly. Oh. I just remember feeling like good ecstasy and joy and good. Like this, yeah, exactly.
Oh, you have these flashbacks now of like dreams of like, being on stage
like
and like
Vietnam, like fever dream.
Have you had those? Have you had those dreams where you've been on stage? You're like, oh god, that was a great joke, and like, and it's, oh no, it wasn't real. It wasn't real. That was just.
Weirdly, I haven't dreamt about being on stage since about August last year. I don't think so. I can't really remember, but. It's a weird feeling.
Right. So you would see yourself as a PCSO?
Yes. Yeah, is that what it's called? Yeah, the community support officer. Yeah, like a tragic one as well. Right. Like one who just shouldn't be there, but just wants to be and is there voluntarily a lot of the time. Yeah. And I do really enjoy that. But yeah, like I don't know, I really enjoy emceeing as well. Like I sort of enjoy the chaos of that. Yeah, so I maybe there's something about like orchestrating the chaos, being allowed to kind of go to lengths that people wouldn't normally allow you to in social conversation is really nice.
Pushing it like as far as it can go.
Yeah, exactly. So like gently insulting people in a way that I'm kind of terrified to do normally, but I think when you're on stage, you sort of feel that people expect you to do it, so you can gently do it as long as I think it's within your character to do that sort of stuff.
Just paying the audience out for that one headlock you got in South End.
Oh yeah,
it's like you know what, right? That headlock changed me, and then you're like, right, okay, all these insults keep coming out, but your job is learning support in schools, right? Is it for for like any particular type of children or just normal kids?
It's for like so my previous experiences were working with SEN children, so some children with some special needs, and like mostly related to autism. But this year I've been working in a mainstream school, but I have been working with children who have complex needs. But yeah, I sort of work with everybody, but I do really enjoy working in like a sort of SEN environment. That's definitely something I really enjoy. It's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding as well.
That's it, man. That's great. That's it. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you know, as long as you're you feel like you're contributing anyway, so that's great. You've got both sides filled, mate. You've got like you know, when it was all happening, you've got like the performance side, you know, and then you've got also the kind of like the wholesome, giving something back and kind of making someone's life better side, isn't it? And then you go at night to a gig when someone's annoying you, just destroying their night, which is brilliant.
I don't
balance.
I don't have any qualms about sort of like about now if someone gets grumpy about that, whereas I used to really care and I used to put so much pressure on everyone having a good time.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, if someone's horrible and they're not having a good time and they're being like a dick about it as well, then that feels great. As long as everyone else stays on your side, then you're golden. That's better than winning the whole room, winning enough of the room to make someone like be forced into silence, bully them into silence. Yeah, exactly.
But like, thing is, Jamie, like you're so likable, and you just like, you know, like as a person, you're like, oh man, how could, like, your face is like a little boyish face, and everyone goes, oh, he's just really nice. So how could that, like, you're always going to win them over, really. Doesn't look like there's an angry bone in your face, you know.
Oh, thanks, man.
And no, but that's it, man. It's just like, they're just so likable, so it's like everyone's going to be with you, so that person better shut the fuck up, man, because everyone's going to hate them.
I mean, you know, there's always haters out there. You know, I'm sure someone's like listening to this going, yeah, he's a cunt, hate him, and that's fair enough. You know, I probably feel the same way. So, it's just, I think it's important to try to not like look at those things too much. And I've definitely had days where I've seen someone slag off someone who I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure they're talking about me online, and then thought about that for like a day or two. But it's you know,
is what it is,
people
mate.
are going to talk. It is what it is. Exactly that.
You can't change people's opinion, man. Sometimes
you can't.
I tell you this. This is a story that relates to this, man. I used to live in a house with these four lads. We came over from Dublin for jobs and stuff. Went in 2008. And this one guy, I weirdly didn't get on with. I didn't know why. You know, he wanted to do some like gym stuff. I showed him a few things. I wasn't being overly friendly, but I was like, okay, cool. Anyway, we worked in the same job, and then we had the Christmas party. And I said, we just ended up, me and him in this casino, like when everyone else went to tables, whatever, it was gambling. And I said to this guy, I said, look, man, dude, what is it? How come we've never been friends? And you know what he said to me? He said, Winter, it's your personality.
Whoa.
And I was like, okay, I'm already in the box. There's no way of me climbing out of this box. You know, there's no point in me carrying this conversation on anymore, because this person has already put me in that box that I will never be released from. You know, that's it. That's life. You can't win them all, man. You know, that's it.
Yeah. That's it. No, exactly.
Yeah, and that's it. And why would you want to anyway? You know, you got better things to do, man. So look, Jamie, I think that's it, mate. I'm just, I wish you all the best with the new culinary experience and things that, you know, you're getting through, man. It's been great to talk to you for the last hour or so, mate. Honestly, just to kind of catch up with you. And like this podcast has become like sort of a Samaritan's helpline, just checking in with comics that, you know from the circuit and going, hey man, how are you doing? You okay? You surviving? You getting through it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's lovely, mate. Yeah. That's really good. It's
been really nice, man. Was it? So where can we find you, man?
Online, I changed my Twitter name recently because I was just like, oh, I'm not the same person. No, so I'm on Twitter at JamieOliOli. So you can find me at JamieOliOli on Twitter. And then Insta is, let me dig that up. That is just Jamie the Oliphant on Insta.
Cool.
Follow me on those. And that would be great. But also equally, no worries if not. That is cool too. Yeah. But yeah, Winter, it's been lovely chatting to you, man. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you on, man. And that was episode 102 with the very funny and totally lovely Jamie Oliphant. He's on Twitter as @JamieTheOliphant and on Instagram as @JamieOliOli. So go find him, go follow him, go and check him out, go see where he's playing next. He's a lovely guy and a very funny comedian, and those things don't always match up. Going from this episode to October's episode is a little bit different. Now, Jamie's a lovely, lovely guy. And this person's a lovely guy too, but he's a bit of a darker comedian. That's at the end of October. His name is Ben Briggs. I've seen Ben on stage many times and he doesn't take any prisoners. So we go into that in October's episode. There's a lot of strange things happen to Ben on stage. And we're going to talk about that at the end of October. I'm not going to ruin it now. So you can follow me on Twitter. I'm there at @WinterDominus. And I'm on Instagram @WinterDominus. And you can follow this podcast. We're on Facebook. We're there. We have a page. You can like that. You can join the group. And if you like this podcast enough, you want to donate, why not? Go to Patreon, type in the Comedy Defect Podcast and donate as much as you feel this podcast is worth. And if you can't donate, that's okay. Tell your friends about your favourite episode. Tell people where we are and what we're up to. And that's it for now. At the end of October, we've got the excellent Ben Briggs. But go and follow Jamie. He's fucking great too. But Ben Briggs, at the end of October, a little bit darker, doesn't take any prisoners. We'll talk about that in October. Until then, have a good Halloween.